This is Sheriff Spotlight with the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office, highlighting the office and deputies dedicated to providing law enforcement services and maintaining the trust and support of Rockingham County citizens, all while keeping neighborhoods and communities safe.
Welcome everyone to Sheriff Spotlight with the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office, our very first podcast of the brand new year, 2022.
2022.
My name is Lieutenant Kevin Southard, and I am your host for today's show. In the studio with me today is, of course, Sheriff Sam Page.
And I'm glad to be here. 2022, man, another year. Hey,
I know. I'm still getting over the date change and putting it on paperwork and stuff.
You're probably still getting over the snow from last week.
That's right. Well, you know, you brought up snow. I think that's the big topic on everybody's mind right now because we had unseasonably warm weather, and it was very nice around the Christmas.
Wearing shorts
and beautiful weather, and then it went from literally from 70 degrees one day to snowing several inches the next.
And slush.
That's our beautiful North Carolina weather for you.
It is.
And now we hear tell that there may be some more snowy weather coming to our area.
Actually, this weekend, and if you get a chance to watch the podcast before this weekend, you get a little heads up that we may have some winter weather coming. I do want, right after or during the storm, I was kind of watching the information was being put out, encouraging our citizens to go to your local news services and just follow your weather, and most people do and stuff like this. But we also put out some safety tips because anytime it snows, I'm going to be out in the weather, and a lot of our deputies and our paramedics and our first responders, our firefighters, and other officers from across the county are going to be out helping, along with our persons that represent the power companies and stuff like this, Duke Energy and all the other Energy United, all the other power companies.
A lot of the unsung heroes.
Yes.
The linemen. Yeah. Absolutely.
So, we just wanted to offer some safety tips. If we're going to go, you want to go into that a little bit?
Absolutely. Sheriff, why don't you share some safety tips when it comes to driving and just basic utilities being down and stuff like that?
Well, for example, today, check your tire pressure. Today, it was about 30-some degrees, and I was out putting air in my tires. Make sure that your tires are properly inflated. A lot of time during the cooler weather, the tires will have a tendency to sag with the cold air and stuff like this. And if you lose air pressure and stuff like this, the last thing you want to have during a snowstorm or a snow event are flat tires.
That's right.
You want traction and you don't want flat tires. So make sure you go by wherever you go by, have your vehicle serviced, and make sure you regularly check your air pressure in your tires. It's very important. Make sure all your fluids are full in your car and stuff like this. And particularly gasoline. Make sure you fuel up. A lot of times before a fuel event, it's kind of like everybody's running out to get bread and milk, right?
Right.
Well, also remember this: a lot of people are going to be running out to get gasoline too, because gasoline, fuel oil, heating oil, and stuff like this. So again, if you're going to be out traveling, make sure that your vehicle is serviced and ready to roll. Another thing is make sure that if you've got to plan a trip and it's bad weather that's coming on in the morning, stuff like that, particularly during the commuter time, delay your trip if you can do that. Delay it. Give time for those yellow trucks. The North Carolina Department of Transportation, now I believe switching to white, but the North Carolina Department of Transportation, make sure you give those guys and girls time to do their job, clear the roadway, spread the brine and stuff like that. A lot of times they'll be out a day or so early, or maybe a day early, spreading brine and stuff like this to help prepare to de-ice the roads when the temperatures go up. And so again, work with them. If you have to go out, watch your speeds. Not only watch your speed, but another thing is watch your following distance, because when weather is slick and you've got snow and slush on the roadways or icy conditions, stopping distance are a lot longer. Okay. And last thing we want to do is see somebody be involved in an accident because they were running too fast.
Right.
And I've been out there. I drive a truck, so a lot of people don't recognize me as a law enforcement officer. So I observe a lot of people driving and stuff like this. So please, if you have to get out and stuff like this, make sure you wear your seatbelts. Make sure you got your vehicle serviced. Make sure you leave plenty of time if you got to leave. Don't get in a hurry. And if you can delay your trip until daylight.
Absolutely. What are some items that someone could have ready in their car should the bad weather come, just in case like an emergency?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind anytime you travel is make sure you have communications. Make sure you have a cell phone and ability to charge your cell phone. Make sure you have a flashlight. You never know if you're traveling, you might get caught out at night, have a problem, and you have to get out at night. Make sure that you have maybe some extra warm clothes, a jacket or something. I always throw extra jackets in my truck because you never know when you're going from inside weather to outside weather. Make sure you got gloves, headgear, and stuff like this. And I'll tell you something. Another thing is you can go by some of the local stores. These hot hands. Now, I'm not marketing, but I'm just saying those hot hands work really good. You can get hot hands. Those little pads to put in your in gloves. You get them, put them in your shoes. You put them in your pocket. They make a lot of sense, and they stay warm anywhere from about 4 to 12 hours. So that's a pretty good thing to have on board for survival and protection. Is to make sure you have some of those, and maybe in your glove box and stuff like this. A blanket's not a bad idea.
Right.
Something to drink, something to eat, a little snack. Because I saw something last week, and did you see it up in D.C., Washington D.C.?
Yes.
When they got caught off guard by that storm, the Department of Transportation guys, I think they got caught off guard. They just didn't see it coming. And it shut down between D.C. and down in Fairfax, Fredericksburg, Virginia, 25, 30 miles out of D.C. On 95, shut them down for 24 hours?
Yeah, it was a while.
I don't know a single vehicle, not many vehicles can run for 24 hours straight with the heat and the engine running, for heat. I don't know how many electric vehicles you've got out there that can last for 24 hours and stuff like that. So the thing about it is during winter travel, if you have to travel any distance, make sure you have those precautionary issues such as flashlights, warm clothing, water, food, some of the necessities just in case in your kit, just in case you get stopped for a while.
Right, because several of those drivers did get stranded on 95 there for quite a while.
Right.
No one could get to them. So.
Now, here's another thing. What happens a lot of times, Roy, we talked about this before, what happens a lot of times when it rains, then it goes into sleet, then it goes into snow, it gets on the trees, and trees fall, especially if you got wind. Now, we had wind before the storm, so we had some trees falling here. I think they had about 47 calls between trees and motor vehicle accidents altogether. That's a lot of activity in a small county like Rockingham County. But just imagine a bigger county. But when those trees go down, number one, people could, depending on the time of day, could run into those trees. Other thing is they could fall on vehicles, which have happened before. So remember, when the winds are up, it's sleeting outside, it's bad weather conditions, you might not want to travel because of these trees. A lot of times we'll start throwing the chainsaws in the back of the vehicles. I know the fire departments, we got 19 volunteer fire departments across Rockingham County and a rescue squad, 3 rescue squads, and I know most of them carry chainsaws. For the purpose of basically getting vehicles out of a situation where people get boxed in when trees fall. We've had that before just with wind events and a lot of rain, a tree will fall and shut down a road for a while until we can get the tree cut.
Now, inevitably, when we have bad weather, we're going to see some power lines down, some power outages and stuff like that. Let's talk about that for a minute. I'm
going to give you a good example. The other night, we had just got out of a county commissioner meeting. About 6:15, it was dark, and we got a report of a power line. A tree had fallen on a power line. Well, when trees fall on power lines, sometimes they arc, and sometimes those cables will pop, which is dangerous, and they'll go in the roadway, which if you run on, they're electrified sometimes. It's very dangerous, and especially if you get out of your car, you stop and you walk up. If you walk up on one of those lines, you could be electrocuted.
Right.
I try to talk with the Duke Energy guys and girls to try to educate myself. So when I talk to the public, but if you're traveling and they got trees down, there's always potential of power lines also to be down. And sometimes it takes a little while, because when you got one of these big events, Duke Energy or Energy United or other power companies are out there trying to fix these systems. And sometimes, you might have a lot of power outages. They're trying to go to different places, and they can be, but in so many places.
Right, and they have to track those power outages back to their source.
And you've got your law enforcement officers, you've got your firefighters, you've got everybody out there and during these events trying to cover these roads to make sure nobody hits a tree or runs over a power line, stuff like this. So if you see any of our first responders out there or any of our utility services out there, and they've got the lights on, please slow down or stop and expect to stop. and give them time, because they're doing things that can save lives and help our citizens. But we need patience.
Right.
Patience is very important.
That's right.
Keep that with you too when you're traveling.
That's
Patience.
right. That's right. All right. Well, I thought we might take part of the first broadcast of the new year to do some educational piece information here on the Sheriff's Office here in Rockingham County and the services that we provide. And I wanted to start off with the Office of the Sheriff. Now, I've heard you talk about this at various schools when you're giving lectures and stuff to the kids and stuff. I think that it's fascinating. Why don't you share the origins of the Sheriff's Office and what it is that you're responsible for as Sheriff of Rockingham County?
Well, the Office of Sheriff is one of the oldest law enforcement agencies in the country. A lot of our customs and courtesies come from England. That's where we saw the sheriffs. You've heard of the Sheriff of Nottingham. When the sheriff was the tax collector. A lot of people don't like the tax collector.
Right.
Sheriff was a tax collector, and also he protected the forest and the deer and everything in the king's kingdom. And also he was an enforcer. And sometimes when he needed help, he would call for help with the citizenry, and they would come out and help him. But the sheriff came over when we came over and settled in the early 1600s. The sheriff was here in Virginia, and then it kind of spread out. Later, sheriffs were elected, but basically, the sheriffs have had some basic priorities or responsibilities when they're doing their jobs, which is number one, is the sheriff is become responsible for the jail. The sheriff has become responsible for what's called civil process. That's like if someone wants to evict somebody or sue somebody for money's owed and something like this, eviction process. So the jails, responsibility of jails, keeper of the jails, civil process, and the courts. And those are basically your three primary responsibilities of a sheriff. And in modern times, we are now, sheriffs also, besides doing those responsibilities, also responsible for criminal investigations in a lot of states and a lot of counties. They're also responsible for patrolling the unincorporated areas of the county. Rockingham County, a lot of people, we've got about 565 square miles, roughly 92,000 people. And we have roughly about 55,000 population that we're responsible for patrolling those 565 square miles. If you drive from Anglin Mill from the northwest part of the county to the further southeast part of the county, it takes 56 minutes to drive across the county. Boy, did you know that? 56 minutes. And that's driving the speed limit across. And at one time, up until 1785, do you know that Rockingham County and Guilford County were the same county?
Right.
And then in 1785, we became Rockingham County, right on the Virginia border. So we border Alamance, Caswell, Guilford, and we border Stokes, and then to the north we border Pennsylvania County and Henry County, Virginia. So we're right there on the border. But those are the basic responsibilities. Now I say that quickly, but we have 40 deputies that work in the patrol division that handle enforcement, and they serve papers also. They serve warrants. They assist with some of the civil papers, civil process. Then we have a civil division that primarily they do evictions, and they handle the majority of the civil process. Tied in with to move the papers work from the clerk's office, where a lot of your court papers are generated from. Then they come to the records division, the administrative side of the records division. Now the records division processes all those papers and responsible to make sure those come in. When they get served, they're sent back and show that they have been taken care of in accordance with the law. But also we do what? We process carry conceal permits. And I haven't got the latest number I can tell you is with our population of 92,000 roughly, we have 9,750 plus carry conceal permits, but I don't have an exact number. But that means over 10% of the population in Rockingham County now have the carry conceal permits. If you decide that you want to purchase a firearm for the purpose of self-defense, and you're thinking about, I might want to carry it, you have to go through a process. You have to go to a licensed, trained carry conceal instructor, conceal handgun permit instructor, or carry conceal instructor. Go through the class. It's 8 hours, and they teach you different information pertaining to possession and carry of a firearm and what your legal responsibilities are. And then once you do that, because everybody asks me, how do you do it? Once you get your certificate, then you come to the sheriff's office, you fill out your paperwork, your application, take your fingerprints, and then once your application's filled out, that's turned in, you pay a fee of it's $90. And then it takes about, I think within the statute it says, must be either approved or denied within 45 days, but they're usually coming back within 45 days. And either you're gonna get an automated message from me telling you to come pick up your permit when it comes in, or I'm gonna call you personally.
Right.
So, because it's a very important document. Your right to protect yourself and your family, being you're the first line of defense in protecting your family, I think is a very important document. So we want to make sure that we get people to pick those up on time and have those with them.
Absolutely.
So if you decide you want to get a carry conceal permit, that's the basic process. It doesn't take that long. I support it 100%. You know, back in, I think, was it February of this past year, the county commissioners adopted a Second Amendment county, supporting the Second Amendment. So they actually did a proclamation. And we do support the Second Amendment in Rockingham County. So if you decide you want to purchase a firearm to get a permit or carry conceal, there's a process, but you come by the Sheriff's Office, Records Division. If you go online, you can see the dates that they're open for different processes.
You can also apply for either one of those.
And you can apply online for your concealed handgun permit. You do everything but sign it, sign the application for that. And then also you can apply for your purchase permits.
Absolutely.
In North Carolina, if you want to purchase a handgun from a licensed dealer, then you're required to get a purchase permit from the sheriff in the county in which you reside before you can purchase. And also, private sales requires a person, if they want to purchase a handgun from a private individual, they're also required to get a handgun permit, purchase permit from the sheriff, the county in which they reside.
Right.
Okay. A lot of people don't know that, so you want to make sure you're in compliance with the law. Did I cover that pretty well?
You did. You did. And a couple of other things that I know our Records Division is responsible for is the sex offender registry, keeping that up to date and current.
Right. You can go to the State Bureau of Investigation website, or you can come to the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office website if information deal with sex offenders.
All of that information is uploaded and verified through them on a regular basis. And we also provide fingerprinting services through the Records Division.
Whether you live in Rockingham County or not, if you need a set of fingerprints here,
maybe for a job or whatever else.
There's a fee for in-county, out-of-county, but we do offer fingerprints. You know, I know during the COVID situation a year or so ago, that some of the counties had backed down on some of those processes, but constitutionally speaking and the law, we have to do certain things, and we do process the concealed handgun permits by law, the purchase permits by law, and fingerprinting. If you need fingerprinting, feel free to come by the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office. We'll accommodate you.
Now, you've covered a lot of the different areas that the Sheriff's Office and the services that they provide to the citizens of the county. Let's talk about a few more here. Animal control.
Animal control. We have 3 animal control. I wish I had 4, but we have 3 animal control officers that work basically Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. And sometimes during the summertime, we'll bring them out and work on weekends a little bit to help out, because that's most time when people are out, kids are out, families are out, and stuff like this. And when we have potential for issues involving domestic animals and animal bites and stuff like that. We try to do education. Every year we try to try to make sure that all our officers and our deputies that go through a training class put on either by the Humane Society US or the SPCA, dealing with handling of domestic animals and stuff. Because when we catch animals, that's someone's pet normally, and we want to make sure we properly handle that. We don't get hurt, they don't get injured, and they can hopefully be reunited through our shelter, which we have a Rockingham County Animal Shelter located on Camp Cherokee Road. So if you're interested in adopting a cat or a dog, check with the Rockingham County Animal Shelter. They're in the phone book, they're online. You can go to the county government's website.
There's a link to it from our website.
You can link to it from our website, but we encourage, hey, don't forget, they've got some pets out there, some animals out there looking for a home.
That's right. That's right. Now let's talk about the code enforcement officers for the Sheriff's Office. We
started the code enforcement officer program with the Sheriff's Office. It was kind of It was an experiment where basically we had one person, then we went to two persons, and basically they were sworn deputies. They were trained in code enforcement activities, and they were assigned to the planning department. So basically, when there are code enforcement issues that they need to be involved in, they get their information to come in, like trash dumping, for example. When people do illegal dumps and stuff like this, part of their work is to try to identify who's dumping, who's violating the law, and basically hold those persons accountable. Because nobody wants to be dumped on. Nobody wants to be dumped on their property, and a lot of the people that have a lot of property do not like people dumping their trash and garbage on there.
Absolutely.
There's a process for that, and there are pickup services for that. But again, it goes back to environmental concerns. Not trying to do anything that's hazardous, injurious to the environment. But the code enforcement officers, they do that also if they're out in the public and they're doing the code enforcement work, and something that happens where we need assistance on the patrol side. If they're in an area, they'll jump in and help out also.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of
deputies,
it's a force multiplier too. You also see the code enforcement officers. They provide security at our county commission meeting and our other meetings.
Now I want to talk about a fan favorite part of the patrol division, our canine division. Now, I know you were a former canine handler as well, and why don't you tell us a little bit about what they do?
Well, I served in the United States Air Force for 5 years, and during that time I was a security police canine handler, which meant, and also a detector dog handler. So I handled drug dogs and also patrol dogs. We trained them, and I said a long time ago when I became sheriff that I said we're going to always have a canine team here. And so basically I try to use asset forfeiture money when we seize money from the bad guys, put it to good use, and purchase our dogs. Trying to save those tax dollars.
Kind of ironic.
And so, So what happens is we right now we have 2 bloodhounds, and we have Buttercup and Blue, and then we have Kira, who is one of our Belgian Malinois. They're kind of like a smaller German Shepherd, and we're also getting ready to. We've already purchased another dog, and he's in training. And his name is Mazurik right now.
Okay.
We might shorten that a little bit.
Yeah.
But anyway, he came from Poland, and he's been in the country since it's like November, and he's been in training. And in February, our handler will go up and train with him for about a month, and then when he comes back, he'll be using his canine for everything from drug detection, from tracking and trailing, to building search, to handler protection, security checks, stuff like this. The dogs, they're a great tool, but they're also their partner.
Right.
And they're one of the members of the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office, and we look after them, and they stay and live with their handlers. So we'll have 2 Malinois, and we'll have 2 bloodhounds. The bloodhounds, more emphasis is on tracking. If we have children that walk off, elderly people that walk off, we have the ability to track people. Also, we track bad guys. So it's the canine program is a good program. I support it 100%. We work with a canine group, Highlands Canine, up in going towards Statesville area. And they turn out some great dogs, and we purchased for them for a while. We used to purchase through K2 down in Montgomery County. They provide a lot of dogs for the military. But the canine program, it's a tool that you can't beat their hearing and their sense of smell. They do a great job. And so as a former dog handler, I ran the bloodhounds for about 4 years too. But as a former dog handler, I support the canine program. We love our dogs, and again, like I support the program, and I know our handlers are excited. And of course, we can't wait to Mazurik to get back. That's it, to get back to Rockingham County.
Very beneficial here. And the last one I wanted to go over that's very important is the school resource officers.
School resource officer. Well, Kevin, you're bringing up things. I'm a former school resource officer.
That's right.
Actually, in 96, 97, I worked at Holmes Middle School in Eden as a first school resource officer. So it was a great opportunity, and it was a lot of learning. But our school resource officers, a lot of times people are like, well, what are they doing? Are they armed guards in the schools? Well, yeah. First responsibility, they're a law enforcement officer, a sworn law enforcement officer, working in a school and working in our schools, trained as school resource officer. They understand how to help the needs of the school, the students, and the staff. And they're there as a law enforcement figure, but they're also there as a resource to the kids and to the staff. And when they need assistance in everything from education, law enforcement related education, they're there. If there's a question of a law enforcement, how things work, they can explain it. And then also they're there, they do a lot of things, and they participate. They're very active with the kids in their sporting program. Just like I was up at Michael recently when the girls volleyball team, when they were going on to the state and stuff, and watching them. And my school resource officers, they're very active, involved with the kids in sporting, other activities in the schools, different events. We've had opportunity to speak at the civics classes and other type classes. Right. But anytime we have an opportunity to engage the kids, our school resource officers are there to be there to help them. My belief is this: that if a child feels safe in school, they can learn. If a teacher feels safe in school, they can teach better. So we want to make sure that we work with both our teachers and our kids to make sure they accomplish their mission of education, support them, but also make sure they have a safe and secure environment when that's going on. And being there as a resource to the principals and their assistant principals when they need assistance.
Code Red emergency alert system. I know you talk about this a lot to the public.
We continue to talk about Code Red. We used to have what was called Delta Alert, then it migrated to Code Red, but basically it's an emergency notification system. The other night when we had the power line down, I made a request for CCOM, our dispatch, from the 911 center to put out a message, 5-mile radius, to let people know that we had the road closed on Highway 87. And where you could get off, where you could turn around and stuff, we had that information put out to help the public. If we have anything such as roadway obstructions or hazardous conditions or anything that could affect the public, we want to make sure that we utilize Code Red. Now, the benefit is you're getting information directly from the 911 center to you, to your smartphone. But the only thing keeping you from getting that information is subscribing.
Right.
It's free, Kevin.
There's an app.
It's an app. It's called Code Red. It's free. It will help you to be safer. You can also set it to notify you if you're within 5, 10, 15, up to 25 miles of something going on around you. So if there's an event where there's a high presence of law enforcement or emergency services or something that's affecting your area of the county or your community, Code Red is a way we push that information out quickly to thousands and thousands of people. But the only thing keeping you from the information is if you fail to secure the app.
Right.
So get the Code Red app, put it on your phone, so anytime we have something that affects you, you'll know ahead of time.
Now, and if you've got a hardline telephone into your home, that's kind of the reverse 911 as part of that Code Red. It automatically does that. But if you want it on your cell phone, and I know a lot of people only have cell phones these days, you would need to download the app and sign up.
So it could go to your home phone, your landline, but a lot of people are getting the cell phones now, so because of mobility. And so, like I said, but it's really important to have that information quick, so you don't have to wait till the news comes on at 6 or 12 or what, 11. You can get it real time.
That's right.
And then as soon as the event's over, we can call in. Like if we've got trees down in the roadway, power lines down, or anything affecting the area that affects public safety, we generally will get that information as quick as we can.
The road closures and stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
There's links to both the Apple Store and Google Play Store on our website, rockinhamsheriff.com, so that you can download the Code Red app for free. And then
keyword,
sign up.
Code Red, it's free. Yeah. I know we're short on time. Happy New Year's to everybody. 2022 is going to be a great year, great activities and stuff. Like we enjoy working for you, and we're going to continue delivering the service that we deliver. If you need us, you know the number, 336-634-3232 is our 24/7 number. If you have an emergency, what's that number you call?
911.
That's the only number you need to know. We appreciate you. Thank you for everybody for listening to us today.
Absolutely. This month is in every month. Thank you for tuning in to Sheriff Spotlight. We'll see you again next month.